When it comes to investing, you're competing against everyone else in the market. You're trying to get a lower entry into the market before they are. You're trying to sell out your investments before they do. How can you possibly think that you're going to compete against the experts in the industry? Where investors go wrong is they go all in on one project. They go all in on Bitcoin, which sometimes is an okay strategy. Ask yourself, how much am I expecting to make if you're only investing a couple $1,000s and you're wanting to make 100,000 to $1 million? You're setting yourself up to fail from the start. Institutions are getting involved in the cryptocurrency market. Market cycles may not continue how they used to in the past. The altcoin market, potentially it may not even exist after this cycle. What that means is Welcome to Crypto Coach Will, where we bridge the gap for everyday investors wanting to build real wealth in crypto. I'm Will Wright, the founder of Mining Store and Imperial Wealth, two of Australia's leading companies in the crypto space. For over a decade, I've helped everyday investors safely and securely set up in the cryptocurrency market so they can build long-term sustainable wealth. In this podcast, we break down the complexities of the cryptocurrency market, everything from investing, trading, DeFi, and even Bitcoin mining. Let's get into it. Let's be real. Most people lose money in crypto because they chase hype and not strategy. There are 5 brutal truths that have led to the success my clients and I have achieved through investing in crypto, and I wish I knew them before I started 10 years ago. If you watch this entire video and implement the 5 brutal truths, then you too can make millions of dollars in the crypto market, just like my clients and I. Trust me, I've been in the industry for 10 years now. I've worked with over 1,000 clients, some extremely successful and others not. I know what it takes to be successful in crypto, and I'm going to deliver it to you without sugarcoating it. You might feel uncomfortable with some of the truths, and if you do, then that's your gut telling you that you're doing it wrong and you need to make a change. If you choose to ignore this advice, then you'll simply make the same mistakes that other unsuccessful investors do. Sure, you might make some money, but you'll almost always end up losing the profits that you made. So here's the first brutal truth. If you aren't disciplined in the bear market, then you're never going to be able to handle the bull market. Every single client I've worked with, whether they have experience in investing or they're dipping their toes in the market for the first time, they all want to put all of their money into the market at once. The reason for this is FOMO. It's a powerful beast, which is extremely hard to tame. But trust me, when you control that beast, you control the market. Think about it logically. If JB Hi-Fi are advertising that TVs are selling at all-time high prices, are you going to go and rush down to the store and hand over your credit card to buy one? No. Why would you? But if the TVs are selling at the lowest price ever seen in history, well, of course, you're going to take advantage of it. That's how you need to train your brain. When there's fear in the market, it's time to get greedy. When others are greedy, that's when you should be fearful. Now I get it, the bear market sucks. You don't think that even for an experienced investor, it pains me to walk into my head analyst's office, knock on the door, and to have a boring conversation about the market's trading sideways or sliding down another 15% a day. Of course it does. But don't let that slide your conviction. And I've got the results to prove it. I owe my team absolutely everything. It's having conviction when you have access to such knowledgeable analysts, and our head analyst Mitch is the reason we have done so well in the last bear market and in this bull market today. Just as a couple of examples, we bought Solana at an average of $25 in the bear market. Today, it's trading at over $200. Nearly a 10x. We bought Bitcoin at an average of 17.5K. Today, it trades at well over $100,000 per coin. So if you ever wonder why we're so relaxed when Bitcoin dumps like it did just last weekend, the biggest liquidation event in history, it's because we've done the hard work in the bear market. Now, if you're new to crypto, you don't have to wait for the bear market to get started. You can absolutely start in the bull market. But my number one brutal truth is train your brain to be prepared for the bear market. Get excited by the bear market. That's where everything's on discount. Now, the next brutal truth. If you don't have a plan, then expect to lose thousands. The old age saying goes, fail to plan and you plan to fail. There's so much truth in this. The amount of clients that I have that come into the market and they expect to just put one entry into the market and everything to go well. It's the worst way you can possibly invest. You need to make sure that you have a plan A, which is the entry into the market, but you also have a plan B, which is if things don't go well, you know how you're going to act. That's where the beautiful part of investing strategy comes in, which is dollar cost averaging. Once you enter into the market, there's two things that can happen. It's either going to go up and you're going to start making money, or it goes down. Now, where investors go wrong is they see the market go down and they panic going, oh, on paper, I've lost this much money. But what you need to do is before you even make your initial investment into the market, be prepared that if it goes down, you will see that as opportunity. Exercise the strategy of dollar cost averaging and get it at a cheaper price. That's how you invest. Now, the other big problem that people have when they fail to plan is they go all in on one project. In the best case scenario, they go all in on Bitcoin, which sometimes is an okay strategy. If, for example, you have property investments, gold, stocks, and other things that, make up your investment portfolio. But if you're coming into crypto and this is the first time you're investing, why would you go into a meme coin as your first investment? Why would you go all into one project that your mate at the pub told you about? That is not the way to invest. What you want to do is get a broad understanding of the landscape of the cryptocurrency market. Bitcoin and Ethereum are your majors. Those are your blue chip, that's the terminology you'll hear in stocks, your blue chip options. So why not just start dollar cost averaging into those two projects as a beginner? Now that you've got your blue chip investments and you're happy with your entry, you're comfortable with the volatility of the market, now you can start exploring some of those more altcoins, high risk, high reward plays. Diversification is absolutely key. Think about it logically. When you've got only one coin, if that goes down, you lose everything. If you spread across 5, maybe 10 projects, if one goes down, the whole ship doesn't sink. That's the way that you should be investing always. Spread your eggs across the basket. Now onto the third brutal truth. Master psychology. It's your superpower. When you control it, you control the markets. Expectations are essential. Before you start investing, ask yourself, how much am I expecting to make in the cryptocurrency market? I can tell you right now, if you're only investing a couple $1,000s and you're wanting to make 100,000 to $1 million, then you're already getting your expectations completely wrong. You're talking about doing 100x. That's just not possible. There's not really markets out there. It is possible in crypto more than any market, but it's not possible for a beginner investor. You're setting yourself up to fail from the start. When I talk to new investors, I like to compare investing to a gym program. Think about it logically. How many people do you know that have signed up to a gym membership? They walk in on day one, they get the bench press, do one big rep, and they walk out of there jacked as ever, feeling the person that they always wanted to be. It's just not a thing. So when you get into investing, think of it like a gym program. Every day, you want to be conscious of the effort that you're putting into your investing. You want to have a real plan, a real structure. It doesn't mean it has to become your full-time job. You definitely don't want to get in the trap of this is everything to me. Every moment I have, I'm reading about the markets. I'm tracking coin market cap to see where my investments are. You don't want to go into the trap of paralysis by analysis. But what you do want to do is take it seriously. The more you consciously think about how can I get the most out of my investing plan, the better your results are going to be. So going back to the gym example, the person who gets that plan in place, ideally even has a PT to keep them accountable. The person that does this is going to get substantially better results out of the market. In terms of investing, what that looks like, it's mapping out, understanding the ins and outs of investing, understanding things like dollar cost averaging, understanding where the markets go, where we're up to in the market, and building a plan around that. And as I say, gym program, PT, the person with a PT is going to get much better results. So reach out to experts like us who are willing to help you. So tying this all back to your mental psychology in the market, make sure that you really treat your investing like a gym program. Make sure that you've battle tested your mind for the outcomes that can happen. Some of them you're not going to expect. Similar to a gym program, you might fall into an injury or two. Don't let those setbacks destroy your whole investment plan. Make sure you're ready for those mistakes that might happen. Just quickly, if you're ready to take your results to the next level, my team at Imperial Wealth Crypto can help. Inside our Crypto Academy, you'll get access to my personal portfolio, strategies, real-time market insights, and the exact plays my team and I use to stay ahead. With our team of analysts monitoring the markets 24/7, we've helped investors catch moves like a coin that's done a 5x in 4 days. If you're serious about accelerating your wealth, click the link below to book in a call with my team of experts and see how we can help. Now, back to the episode. Now, I can give you a perfect example of a real client of ours who had a good psychology and a real client of ours who had poor psychology. Now, let's start with the poor psychology. This client came to us with quite a bit of money to invest, around $50,000. In the first 3 months, they actually got into the market at a really good time. Things were on the uphill and they were making quite a substantial amount of money. Now, this client, unfortunately, looked at the crypto market as sunshine and rainbows, and everything was always good for them. But then a black swan event hit. Now, the client's portfolio, even though it was in profit at about $150,000, went down 30% in a matter of a week. This client felt like they just lost everything, even though they're still in profit. And the big message here is they didn't prepare their psychology before they entered in the market. They always saw it as sunshine and rainbows, and unfortunately, when one bad event happened, they crumbled to pieces. They've made profit, but just from one single event that they didn't like how it made them feel, they've turned away something that could have generated them millions of dollars and could have been a main breadwinner for them in the future. Now let's look at client B. Again, a real client. Unfortunately, this client also started at around $25,000 to invest, but they started in the bear market. Now this client didn't experience profits for a good 9 to 12 months. They were just putting money into the market, watching it bleed out. But what this did is it naturally trained their psychology. They didn't have this expectation that it's up only and it's all profit and rainbows. For this client, they had to go through the pain of every single day, learning, understanding how markets actually work, and getting a real perspective on how to invest properly. Now, this client saw their portfolio go from 25 to 20 to 15,000 at its lowest point. However, when things turned around and we came into a bullish market, this client very quickly saw their portfolio go from 15 to 30 to 60. They are now $1 million client of ours. They are one of our best examples of someone who started relatively small at 15,000, experienced the pain, had their psychology tested, didn't get expectations too high, and now they've felt comfortable to put more money into the market, and they're now managing $1 million portfolio. I could not give a better example of why this is so important to train your psychology before you enter into the market. The next brutal truth. Ignore market cycles, risk management, and strategy, and it's going to be your direct pathway to go broke. If you come into the cryptocurrency market and just expect hot tips off your mate at the pub or someone at work, then I guarantee you're going to make serious mistakes in crypto and lose most of your portfolio. Time and time again, we see people coming into the market, and I tell you what their first question is: what should I buy right now? What are the hot tips? What coins are doing well? It's the complete wrong way to look at the market. Before you ask what coins to buy, the first question you should ask is, what do I need to know about the cryptocurrency market? And as I said, market cycles, risk management, and strategy are the key things you need to understand to be successful. So let's look at market cycles. Market cycles, it's your cheat sheet to understanding the cryptocurrency market. The crypto market tends to go in 4-year cycles. What tends to happen is we get 2 years of negative growth and 2 years of absolutely bullish growth. With having this in front of you, you can quite easily build your exposure to the market when it's down and look to take profits when it's pumping up. However, when do you think most people get into the crypto market? Of course, they get into it when news publications, social media gurus are all talking about now is the time to make money in crypto, Bitcoin's at all-time highs. It's the complete wrong way to get into the market. Absolutely, as I said earlier in this episode, you can make money and you can enter the market in the bull market, but be aware of the stage of the market that you're in. And what I mean by that is if you are entering when we're in the bull market, be very, very clear that if you see quick gains, you're taking money off the table. Now, touching a little bit more on market cycles, there is one special important point that is more relevant now than ever. What you need to understand is institutions are getting involved in the cryptocurrency market. And what that means is the market cycles may not continue how they used to in the past. It's really important to be aware of this. And in fact, I actually see the crypto market having quite a divide right now. You've got those blue chip options. You've got Bitcoin. You've got Ethereum. These coins may not follow that traditional market cycle. They may start to look a little bit more like indexes, the ASX 200, the NASDAQ, these types of indexes. We might start to see a bit more of a clean trajectory for these types of projects. Whereas the altcoin market, potentially it may not even exist after this cycle. Maybe we're not going to see those clear market cycles like we used to. However, market cycles exist outside of the cryptocurrency market. And with a basic understanding of economics, you should understand, are we in a growth period? Are people bullish? Or are we in a bit of a bearish scenario across the world? And you've experienced this recently. You know, during COVID, money was being printed out of the wazoo. Everyone was getting paychecks and everyone was saving money. We didn't have much to do. And therefore, the markets were actually pumping. Interest rates were quite low. However, over the past 2 years or 3 years, interest rates have been at all-time highs, 4 or 5%, and investors are not feeling confident. So this is the knowledge. Of course, it's going to be new. It's a lot to digest for you right now. But this is what we teach you in day one of our Crypto Academy on the Imperial Wealth platform. On day one, we have you understand just basic economics. We have you understand where we're up to in the cryptocurrency market right now. And this is going to be your blueprint to success going forward. If I was starting in crypto 10 years ago and I had access to the Crypto Academy, I think I'd be sailing on a boat right now and I'd be exactly where I want to be. Unfortunately, I had to learn all of this on my own. But today, I even rely on the Crypto Academy. I am personally using the service that I've built over the past 10 years to invest myself. And going back to the example recently of the recent massive liquidation event, the biggest we've seen in history, I woke up that morning and I felt sick to the stomach. I'm not going to lie. I have a photo that I sent to my mates. I was in bed, my hair was everywhere, and I felt like utter shit. Now, I'm telling you, the first person that I contacted was our analytical team. I went straight to Mitch and said, Mitch, what the F is going on? Mitch quickly was able to calm me down, say, I don't think it's as bad as what we think. And quickly my mentality switched to, this is an opportunity. We can dollar cost average into these low prices and scoop up investments that we have long-term conviction in and get success in the coming weeks. What do you think happened? The projects that we picked up had gone up 15, 20% in a matter of hours. That's the brutal truth about this episode. You need to rely on experts. Don't hack this on your own. Now that leads me to the final and most brutal point. You are not an expert. Let the experts do the work and be guided by them. It's not hard to make money in crypto. It honestly just takes discipline and guidance. I was never the smartest person in the room. I know from experience that anyone can make money. If I can do it, then you definitely can too. When I first started in the cryptocurrency market, I was doing all of the wrong mistakes. I was spending hours and hours researching the wrong types of projects, thinking if I pick a winning project, that's what's going to make me money. But ultimately, what I've learned over the past 10 years, and I've had some of the best mentors in the space teach me this, it's not about the projects you pick, it's about understanding the markets themselves. And what that means is you need to position yourself properly in the market. You can't just expect to go and buy this coin and it's going on that upward trajectory. Like anything in life, there's hiccups, road bumps, things that you don't expect. In the crypto market, we call them the black swan event, and they're deadly. Like I explained in my story before, you're gonna have those sickening moments where all of a sudden things don't go in the right direction. And it's gonna be the guidance of our experts that help you get through that. Once you've been through enough of those moments and those experiences, you're actually going to train your brain to look at them as opportunity. You're going to start to see the bad moments, the moments where maybe your parents or whoever are calling you saying, I know you're investing in crypto, it's at the bottoms, are you okay? You're going to see these as massive opportunities, and your voice on the phone is going to emulate that. You're going to be saying to them, what do you mean? I've just bought it at all-time lows again. I've been waiting for this moment, and they're going to be shocked. The main thing that I want you to remember here is you're not an expert and you need to leave your ego aside. I can speak from personal experience on how important that last point I said is. Leave your ego aside. Personally, I studied economics and finance. I came out thinking I was going to go into the stockbroking world, and I had an ego behind me that I was the smartest bloke in the room. It really doesn't help you when it comes to investing. You need to lean on the experts in the industry, especially if you've never invested before. How can you possibly think that you're going to compete against the experts in the industry? And ultimately, that's what you're doing. When it comes to investing, you're competing against everyone else in the market. You're trying to get a lower entry into the market before they are. You're trying to sell out your investments before they do at the top. So come into this as a humble investor. Come into this with an open mind. Reach out to the people who have battle tested these strategies, who have been through the ups and the downs, and make sure you learn from what they have to say. At Imperial Wealth Crypto and through our Crypto Academy, our experts are there to help you. Sometimes the advice they're giving you might seem counterintuitive, but believe me, it's because you don't understand the markets. By taking on the advice they give you, you're going to get much better results, and I can't wait to see you take advantage of it. Now that wraps up the entire episode. Don't make the same mistakes that rookie investors out there are making. Implement these 5 brutal truths and your life will change just like mine did. I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in to Crypto Coach Will. If you got value from today's episode, then make sure to subscribe so you never miss the latest tips to navigate the crypto market. If you're ready to take crypto investing to the next level, check out the links below where you can book in a call with my team of experts. We place strong emphasis on educating before investing in the market, so take advantage of the knowledge they have to share. Don't forget to follow us on socials @CryptoCoachWill, and I'll catch you in the next episode.